My name is Marcus Hale. I served 21 years in the Army. 13 of those years, I operated as a combat sniper, first with the 75th Ranger Regiment, later attached to Special Operations units in places I still can't fully name.
The shot is maybe 3 seconds of a mission that can last 3 days. What the job is really about, what it demands of you at the deepest level, is the ability to be completely present inside discomfort for as long as the mission requires, without letting your mind convince you to move before it's time. You learn fast that the mind is the loudest enemy you'll ever face, louder than incoming fire, louder than the voices on the radio, louder than anything happening outside of you. The mind wants to move, it wants to solve, it wants to decide right now, because uncertainty feels like dying to a human brain. And in that prone position, with the temperature dropping and your body aching and the hours stacking up like weight on your chest, you learn, or you don't survive, that urgency is almost always a lie your fear is telling you. That was the first place I found it, the habit that would follow me out of the military and into the rest of my life. Patience. Not the greeting card kind, not good things come to those who wait. The other kind, the kind that costs you something. Part 2. But I want to be honest with you, because this isn't a story about how the military made me whole. It's a story about how I almost came apart after it. The year I retired, I was 43 years old. I had a pension, a handshake, a folded flag in a triangle case, and no idea who I was without a mission in front of me. My wife, Diane, will tell you I was home but not present. I was sitting at the dinner table, but something behind my eyes was still somewhere in a valley I couldn't speak the name of. I slept light, moved heavy. I was patient in the field because the field demanded it, but at home, in civilian life, where nothing was trying to kill me, I had no framework for the noise inside my head. There was a morning about 8 months after I retired where I sat in my truck in the driveway for 45 minutes and could not make myself go inside the house. Not because anything was wrong inside, because I didn't know how to exist in something safe. For 20 years I had been calibrated for threat, trained to read every environment for what could go wrong, and peace, real, quiet, ordinary peace, felt like a lie, like the calm before the ambush. My nervous system didn't trust it. That morning in the driveway is the moment I talk about when people ask me when things got hard. Not Kandahar, not Mosul, not any of the places with sand and smoke and decisions that still visit me when the house is quiet. The driveway. Part 3. What pulled me out of that truck wasn't courage. I want to be clear about that, because I think we do people a disservice when we turn survival into heroism. What pulled me out was something smaller than courage. It was curiosity. I remember thinking, and I don't know where this came from, maybe 21 years of mission briefings had rewired the way I processed problems. I remember thinking, I have waited 3 days in a muddy field for one clear moment. I can wait 5 more minutes in this driveway to see what happens next. That was it. That was the thought. 5 more minutes. And in those 5 minutes, my youngest daughter, Ella, she was 9 years old, she came out the front door in her school uniform with one sock on and a piece of toast in her hand. And she saw my truck in the driveway, and she waved at me like I was the best thing she'd seen all week. I got out of the truck, I went inside, and later that week, I called a therapist for the first time in my life. I found in that season of rebuilding myself that patience is not a passive thing. People hear that word and they think of waiting rooms. They think of resignation, of endurance that has no fire in it. That is not what I'm talking about. What I learned in the field and what I slowly, imperfectly relearned in my own home is that real patience is an act of profound faith in what's coming. It's not giving up on the moment. It's trusting that the right moment exists and that your job right now is to stay ready for it without burning yourself down in the waiting. In combat, moving too soon gets you killed, but staying still too long gets you killed too. The skill, the real discipline, is learning to read the difference, to feel in your body when stillness is strategy and when it's fear wearing a disguise. I found that civilian life required the exact same discernment. The moments I tried to force things, force recovery, force normalcy, force myself to be the version of Marcus my family remembered, those were the moments I caused the most damage. And the moments I was willing to simply be present in the discomfort without demanding it resolve itself on my schedule, those were the moments things quietly, stubbornly began to grow. I'm going to tell you what my life looks like now, because I think that matters. I wake up early, not because the Army trained me to. I did that for a while out of habit, and it was hollow. I wake up early now because the morning is mine. There is a particular quality of light just before sunrise that I have no words for. I make coffee. I sit on the back porch. I listen to my property come to life, the birds, the wind moving through the tree line, the sound of the house settling. I spent 21 years learning to read environments for danger. Now I read them for beauty. It's the same skill, turned toward a different purpose. Ella is 13 now. She plays soccer. She argues with me about music and wins. She has no idea most days that her father came back from the edge of himself, and that is exactly how I want it. She should live in the light. My job is to hold the door open, not to fill the room with my shadows. Diane and I are stronger than we've ever been, not because the hard years didn't happen, but because we stayed. We stayed inside the discomfort and waited for the right moment together. I coach a small group of veterans now, informally. No program, no credentials, just a back porch and coffee, and the willingness to sit with someone else in their driveway for as long as they need. That is enough. That is more than enough. Here is what I know about the human spirit after everything I've seen it survive. It does not need perfect conditions to keep going. It does not need the wound to fully close before it finds a way to move forward. I have watched men breathe through things that should have stopped them. I have seen what happens when a person decides, quietly, without fanfare in the dark, that they are not finished yet. There is a kind of strength that doesn't announce itself. It doesn't look like the strength you see celebrated. It looks like sitting in a driveway for 45 minutes and then getting out of the truck. It looks like making one phone call. It looks like waving back at a little girl with one sock on and remembering for one honest second why any of this matters. That is the habit that kept me alive. Not the rifle, not the training, not 21 years of discipline. The willingness to wait through the fear, through the silence, through the uncertainty, for one clear reason to keep going. And then, when that reason shows up wearing a school uniform with a piece of toast in her hand, to receive it completely. If you're in the waiting right now, if you're in that driveway, in that silence, wondering if the quiet is peace or just the absence of something you haven't lost yet, I want you to know something. I see you there. You don't have to move before you're ready, but you're going to be ready. The morning is coming, and it has your name in it. My name is Marcus Hale, 21 years of service, and I am still here. Thank you for spending this time with me.